So this afternoon, I want to talk to you about basketball. All right? Now, I don't know a whole lot about basketball. I would tell you that right now, but I did play basketball when I was a kid. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
All right, so you believe that. Do you think I was very good at it?
Yeah.
No, I was not. It wasn't even really my goal to really get on the team to play basketball to be good. My whole goal for getting on the team to play basketball was so that I could go to the girls' club and see boys. That was my goal. So now, when I was there playing basketball, I was fortunate enough to be the sixth person on the team. If you know anything about basketball, there's 5 people playing at all times. I was the sixth person. I was a happy sixth person. I wasn't thrilled to be getting put in the game. Matter of fact, when they said, all right, go in, I was petrified. I was like, oh, no, don't throw the ball. Don't throw the ball to me. And they would throw it to me. And I would do what I was supposed to do, but I was petrified to get that ball. I was petrified to have to move it up the court. But, you know, I did what I had to do because I had to stay on the team. Otherwise, I couldn't get to the girls' club and I couldn't see the boys. So there was an ends to the means. So, but some of the things that were really petrifying to me about getting that ball and doing something with it was that there was an expectation that I would make the goal. Now, the goal was to make a basket. The goal was to dribble it up the court, to give it to a teammate. The goal was to even hold on to the ball for my team. That was the goal. And I was petrified that I wasn't going to be able to do that. My coordination wasn't extremely great. I was happy that I could run and bounce the ball without losing it, but I did do that a little slow just to make sure I did. And I was even more petrified because imagine I was the smallest person on the team. Okay, I was smaller, you know, shorter. I was the shortest person, and everybody was huge to me. But they were really huge when you walk driving up the court with this basketball and you see somebody coming forward to you with the hands out. I'm like, oh. The temptation was, here, you can have it. But I knew that wouldn't be acceptable and I would lose my place on the team. Then I couldn't go to the girls' club and I couldn't see boys. So I had to keep going with the ball. You know, I mean, I had to keep my goals in mind. Now, another reason that I was so happy about going to the girls' club and boys' clubs because growing up, I lived in the suburbs. Now, in the suburbs, you're like not walking distance from the city, inner city, not walking distance from your friends. I lived in an all-white neighborhood, went to an all-white school, and this was my opportunity to be with some folks. So I'm like, okay, got to get out of the neighborhood, got to go to the girls' club, got to be with the folks, got to get out of the house. I mean, there was some serious thinking in mind to being on this basketball team. So, you know, it had to pay off, okay? So as I'm driving up the court with this ball, doing all I could do to hold on to it, dribble and run and act like I'm supposed to be playing, and I got to be cute too because the boys are watching. You know? So being cute, you know, I got my uniform on and, you know, my little green high-top Converse and my matching socks and dribbling up the court and making it. And here comes Karen Pelletier, and she's huge. I'm like, okay, here, you take it. I've done my part. Now I can hang around and run around. And see, here's the part that's really good because now I just got to run around and act like I'm doing something. You know, as long as I keep running, I look good. I look like I'm doing something. You know, every once in a while I put my hands up. Me. No, not really. But me. So this was my goal as a teenager, was to get out of the house, go to the girls' club, see the cute boys, and then I had my eyes set on one in particular. Okay. Now, even in that, there were obstacles. Because the one I had my eyes set on in particular, so did somebody else. And she wasn't moving out of the way. Matter of fact, she was determined to make sure I was no longer a factor in the whole ordeal. But in my goal to get out of the house, in my goal to get to the girls' club, in my goal to get to the cute boys, I made friends. So there was a bigger plan going on outside of that I had nothing to do with. But I made friends, I learned about being a part of a team. I learned about being a part of something bigger outside of myself. I learned about caring about others, and not only did I care about others outside of my family, but they cared about me. And so that whole team relationship built that inside of me. So when the obstacles started to come after me, who showed up? My team. And this obstacle was no longer an obstacle, it was moved out of the way, and my goal was reached. I got the guy. That was great. So all my goals were working out. They were working out well. And that's what I want to talk to you about today, our goals. And I'm using it in the form of the metaphor of basketball because, you know, in sports, that's the whole point of it, is to make the goal. That's the whole point, is moving past your obstacles that may appear to be overwhelming to make your goal. And I'm asking you today, is the acronym for your goals great obstacles appearing to limit what's happening in your life? Or is your acronym for goals God offering abundant life? Now, you got to choose that for yourself. You can either see the obstacles as limiting, or you can see that no matter what your goal is, God is offering you an abundant life. And there's always so much more that's coming along with your goals that you didn't plan on. I mean, when my goal was set for going to the girls' club, meeting boys, and having a good time, I didn't think about the whole thing of the friends. I mean, these are lifelong friends. I have a friend from that basketball team that is still my best friend today. I didn't think about that. It wasn't a factor. But when you set your goals, God has so much more for you. Now let's look at it from a scriptural point. Jesus said at least 12 times, I came for. That means he had a goal. Let's take a couple in specific. In Matthew chapter 5, verse 17, Jesus says, don't misunderstand why I've come. I did not come to abolish the law of Moses or the writings of the prophets. No, I came to accomplish their purpose. Jesus had a clear-cut goal. He came to accomplish their purpose. In John 10:10, Jesus says, I came that they may have life and have it more abundantly. State your goals. State why you're there. State what you've come to do. State what it is that you've got your eye on and that you are focused on as your goal. And allow God to bring that abundance into your life. It won't happen if you don't do it. It's easy to see the limitations. It's easy to look down the court and see everything in front of you. I can't even imagine what it must be like to be a football player and to be sitting there in a kind of a position that leaves you a little vulnerable. I mean, because you're not standing fully up, but you're in a position that's vulnerable, and you see some guy in front of you that is 3 times your size. But you know, they don't see that as an obstacle. They see that as their goal. You know, when they're there in that position and that ball is snapped in football, they just go at it, right? I was watching Ryan Seacrest. He was on Kelly and Michael, and he was talking about how he was, I think, a defensive back or something like that. And he's a little guy. You know, in terms of me being little on my basketball team, he was little on his high school football team. So he got up against Michael, and they got into position and snapped, and he put his hands up, and he started pushing Michael back. And he's like, yeah, I still got it. So he didn't see Michael as an obstacle. He saw him as the goal. My goal is to push you back. So when those obstacles appear in your life, they are there for you to go through. They are there for your overall highest and greatest good. They're going to give something to you, not take anything away. If the goal is to get from here to there and in between is a mountain, That mountain is not an obstacle to limit your getting there. That obstacle is there to make you stronger as you climb it. Because as you exercise your body, your muscles become better. You have more endurance, you have more strength. And you're not the same person when you get to the other side. When you're playing football and you move that person in front of you, you have reached the goal of moving that obstacle. And we move obstacles in our everyday life in every way. Something I've got here, it says it's easy to walk through life feeling limited. Remember, feeling, because that's a choice. These limitations come in all different forms. They come from people and the discouraging words. They come from labels. They come from genetics. They come from family lineage. And worst of all, they come from our own thoughts. Now, even our past and what we think we lack appears as a limitation. Now, you heard everything I just named. Those are choices if you accept them as a limitation. But you can also see them as something that brings more to you, as something that lifts you up. When people speak discouraging words, you can always say, I can overcome that. When people look at you in a certain way because of your genetics or where you come from, I can overcome that. You know, there's a saying that, you know, someone says, oh, well, you're fat. Yeah, I may not always be fat. I can lose weight, but you're ugly and you're ugly forever. So, I mean, you know, you got to think about these limitations and where your mindset is on them. You can overcome them. And even somebody that may be seen as ugly, there's makeup. There are changes that can be made. But I'm just saying that the only limitations are the ones that you place on yourself. Now, here's the next thing with achieving your goal. And this is really important. Are you committed to achieving the goal, or are you just interested in making it there?
Say that again.
Are you committed to making this goal, or are you just kind of interested in being there? See, because there's a difference between interest and commitment. When you are interested in doing something, you only do it when it's convenient. But when you are committed to something, you accept no excuses, only results. Only results come from commitment. Lack of decisiveness has caused more failures than lack of intelligence or ability. So you got to make a decision. You can't be in the middle of the road, because the only thing in the middle of the road are dead animals in a yellow line. You've got to make a decision that you're going that way and you're going for that goal and you intend to reach it, and there are no obstacles that can limit you. God is offering you an abundant life. Now, the other thing about reaching your goal is you can't reach your goal if you don't play the game. You can't win if you don't play. You can't win if you're not a part of the team. You can't win if you don't set your visions on something ahead of you and focus on it. The only way to win is to play the game. Now, when I played basketball, even though I was a sixth person, I was on the team. And when the team won, so did I. Hey, we won. Hey, look at me, look at me. Yep, that was it. I was happy. And we won a lot. We got our little trophies and life was good. I could go home, tell my parents, yep, I play basketball. I'm good, I can keep going. That was important. Okay, so you can't score a goal by sitting on the sidelines in the bleachers watching the game. You have to maintain your sight on the goal. You have to see yourself moving through the obstacles. You know, our coach used to say this because, well, he was saying it to me most of all, because I think I was the only one that had some real issues with this. He would say, look, if somebody's in your way, you just keep going. One of two things going to happen. They're going to move or they're going to follow you and you get a free shot. I was still scared. I was still petrified. I think I did it once. Kept going with that ball and ran into this girl. She felt like a brick building. But I got the foul and I got the free shot. Now, I was good at the free shot. I could sit there all day and Yes. See, because that was another thing. You had to look good, because the boys would be watching. So I could do that. But you have to see yourself moving through them. The obstacles are there to help you, not to limit you. The other thing you have to do is you have to get out of your comfort zone. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't comfortable playing basketball. I wasn't comfortable playing softball or any other sport. But I knew where I wanted to be, so I got out of my comfort zone. I knew I didn't want to be sitting in a house out in 16 acres looking out at the green, green grass. I wanted to get into the city and have a good time, so I had to get out of my comfort zone. You have to get out of your comfort zone to reach your goals. And every lesson that we give up here, we're talking to ourselves, And right now, I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone so that I can move forward in the things that I want to do. Because trust me and believe, I'm very comfortable coming home in the morning after dropping the kids off, getting a cup of coffee, watching Kelly and Michael. And I've really got to let that go. That's very comfortable. But I got to move out of the comfort zone and do something different. And that's what you're going to have to do, move out of the comfort zone. There's a story in the Bible of a man who had been paralyzed for years. And he and his friends had heard that Jesus were going to be in a nearby town. Now, this guy knew that he had a shot at overcoming this obstacle of the paralysis if he could just get to Jesus, right? So his buddies, his team, and you see there's 5 of them, right? It's like a little basketball team. His buddies put him on a little pallet. They toted him down there, and when they got there, the place was packed. There was no way for them to get inside with that bed that their buddy was on. Now, was that an obstacle?
Yes.
All right, they did. They saw that as an obstacle, but they overcame it, and the obstacle ended up being for their good and not against them. Because what they did is they went up on the roof and ended up falling through. Well, they were right there in front of Jesus, and it all worked out very well because he was healed. Goal achieved. You had to get out of your comfort zone. They could have stayed in their town and sent one of the guys to say, hey, Jesus, can you come help our friend? It probably still would have worked out. But they were together as a team, and their goal was to reach Jesus. And the obstacle appeared to be overwhelming, but they made it. And that's no different than the story of the woman with the issue of blood. We all know that story. I mean, this woman had had this issue for years, and she just knew her goal wasn't to get Jesus to come and talk to her and heal her. Her goal was just to touch the hem of his garment. And I mean, the crowd was overwhelming, as it is every place that he went. But she was determined that she was going to meet her goal of touching his garment, and she was healed. Set a goal, focus on it, commit to it, make a decision. Don't let the obstacles hinder you. Move forward, push through. The other thing that I think it's really important to understand about your journey to your goal is to be grateful for the right now. Now, I'm on the team. I'm happy and grateful I'm on the team. They didn't have to take me on the team, but they kind of did. But they didn't have to take me on the team, but they did. I was happy and grateful to be sitting on the sidelines. I found it in my heart to be happy and grateful, even though petrified, as I was bouncing the ball up the court. I was happy and grateful when I did finally get the courage to push through that obstacle of Kieran Pelletier sitting there looking all big and get my foul shot. It felt good to finally push through. And those obstacles make you strong, but you got to be grateful in every moment of the journey. And that gratefulness is also part of the acronym, because goal can also mean gratefully overcoming the appearance of limitations. You have to be grateful that you've overcome each and every appearance. I was grateful that I overcome the appearance of being the smallest person on the team. I know I had a big goal. I was grateful that I was there. Be grateful for overcoming the appearances of limitation. Let me tell you something about overcoming and what it says in the Revealing Word. The Revealing Word says that overcoming is gaining superiority, winning, through the mastery since man is overcome, and the victorious thought of love defeats the thoughts of hate and fear. Jesus said, "Be of good cheer. I have overcome the world." So you're not on this journey alone. You're never on this journey alone. You're a part of a team. You are a part of something larger that you may not even see. So moving into another acronym, another part of it is that as you're on this journey, you've got to stay hydrated. All right, we all know when you're playing sports, people say you got to stay hydrated, right? You know, you got to drink something, drink your Gatorade and so forth. But staying hydrated on the journey when you're focusing on your goal means continue to get the word. Continue to get stuff that feeds you. That daily thought, coming to InSpirit, reading something, whatever it is, hydrate yourself. And then be energized as you overcome the obstacles. Let each and every obstacle in itself that you have managed to overcome be the win. You haven't reached the goal yet, but it's an obstacle you've overcome. Be the win. Be the thing that energizes you, that gives you more to move forward. Now, you are going to be in the game as long as the clock is ticking. And in life, the clock is your heart. As long as your heart is beating, you have life inside of you, you're in the game, you can reach the goal. So there's no reason to ever give up.
Come on.
As long as you have breath in your body, you can reach the goal. It doesn't matter how old, it doesn't matter your circumstances, nothing else matters as long as you decide to stay in the game. So use your time wisely, and above all, expect to win. When you expect to win, when you have faith in your abilities, when you have faith and belief in God is offering you an abundant life, you can't help but to win and to meet your goal. And when you do, you set another one, and another one, and another one. Raise the bar. There's no limitations to your abundance. So last but not least, InSpirit family, set your sights on the goal, not the obstacle. Be grateful for each moment on the journey. Commit to achieving your goal and allow God to give you an abundant life. Love each and every one of you.